Okay, welcome to Task 4, Warehousing and Distribution Centre. This part of the assignment's worth 15%, and it's also going to give you a few insights into what's some of the questions that are going to be on the test. Important point to note is that from Task 4 onwards, a lot of the questions are basic costing questions, so it gets easier from now to some degree anyway. Although we will have to go revisit Task 3 again to finish off or to tweak some of the orders that you've put in by sea and by air. But let's start with the role of the distribution centre, and on the test I might ask you about cross-docking, order fulfillment, label and packaging, order preparation, shipping, receiving, returns, goods processing. These are some of the activities that occur in a distribution centre. Otherwise, if there are no activities occurring, basically a distribution centre is just a giant shed. So not very exciting. But let's start with looking at location and this concept of place utility. So we might ask you on the test about place utility and what it means, but basically it's the address, which is critical to the position of a DC. So when you buy the land to build a distribution centre, you're looking at road access, sea and port access, proximity to the markets, and also relatively inexpensive cost of land, because there's no prestige associated with where you put your distribution centre, unlike your retail store. So let's have a look at a couple of examples like Target. They've relocated to Foundation Road from Altona earlier this year or late last year. I can't actually remember, but we're going to be jumping around a bit in this one. Where is it? There, 8 Foundation Road. Let's have a look at the satellite image. So the first thing you notice, lots of paddocks, meaning lots of land. Therefore, the price of land is cheaper because it's not taken, and lots of big sheds. Typical industrial zone. If we go back to this one and start zooming out, what you'll soon notice is freeways. And we like freeways because it gives us quick access, in theory, when it's not bottlenecked, to markets. Or let's zoom out a bit more. Quick access to Melbourne, the CBD, the Port of Melbourne, which is just located here. So the garments for Target coming in from China will arrive here, and that's a 20-minute trip at the most to get to the distribution centre. The Ring Road will take you up to the airport, Princes Highway to Geelong, Western Highway to Ballarat, and again, as I said, Westgate Freeway will feed you over to the eastern suburbs. If Target were to relocate to the direct opposite side of Melbourne in terms of distance, they'd kind of be sitting about here. Box Hill, Canterbury. Pretty pricey real estate if you want to stick a big shed. So there's no utilitarian advantage to relocating to that position. So Target made conscious point of going west. As to did Myers. Been there for a long time, Altona North in Doherty's Road. So again, if we just slip back and go, there we are. That's Myers, right next to Princes Highway or Freeway. And again, bird's eye. Come on. Well, not quite there. There's nothing there, but there. And if we zoom out, industrial area. Maybe we should go back to roads. There we go. So right on the freeway, pretty close to Target, which was over there. And indeed, if we go to Woodland Drive, Eastern Creek, which is in Sydney, this is the distribution centre for H&M. And if we zoom out, just opened at the start of this year, I think, 2014 yet. And you'll notice 2 freeways. Zoom out, zoom out. Fair way out from Sydney. This is one of the disadvantages that Sydney has, in that it's hemmed in by the Blue Mountains over here, so you can't live, well, you can live up there, but they're pretty big mountains. All of this area is pretty much residential and some commercial, but basically if you want to build on virgin land, you have to go a fair way out of Sydney. So Melbourne has a slight advantage in terms of the industrial side of things. Obviously Sydney's got the appeal of the harbour from a commercial or retail aspect, or visual anyway at least. But let's have a look at the distribution centre manager for Nike, if I can find him. Here he is. I think he's the success story. Let's have a look at this guy. Luc Hooiberg. All of Europe. Notice the windmills. It's windy in Flanders. Automatic system. We'll look at this in more detail in a minute. Now, how cool is he? The land, the government gave him money. Yep. That's what business is looking for. They don't want any grief when they establish in a particular city. Good on you. So, if we have a look at him on a map, there's the Luchdale district of Belgium. That's the Antwerp Canal. So the ships actually come right up to the distribution centre of Nikes. And if we zoom out, so 175,000 product lines, I think he said. And probably not making any sense yet until we come out a bit more. It's starting to make sense. So now there we are. So from here, Nike's chosen to have one giant distribution centre with presumably products coming from Asia and Southeast Asia, arriving here from the Rotterdam port and as well as the canal, the Albert Canal, and from there they can go to the UK, France, through a pretty extensive freeway system that the Europeans have. So fundamentally, they're doing the same as what Myer and Target are doing in Melbourne. What you don't do is stick a distribution centre in South Yarra, is the point of this. Okay, now if we have a look at what occurs inside the distribution centre, we're interested in two aspects, sort of pick to light and pick to voice. And so remember, we've got a box full of a particular garment. We've got a customer who wants to purchase one or two of those garments, and we need to transfer it into the appropriate box. And to do that, have a look at this system, and I'll talk you through it because it's got cheesy music. But customers ordered some CDs, 9 of them in fact, and this guy's putting it into the box. So that box represents one customer's order. When he's fulfilled the order, he presses the button, and that confirms that he's taken the CD off the shelf and put it into the box. So you scan the box at the start, all of the relevant lights will light up, and you then go pick the garment or the product based on that item. Pick to light system. Very good system. The advantage of it is reliance of visual cue, which requires minimal training, minimises errors in packing. So it takes all of 5 minutes to train staff. See light, pick up the garment, put it in the box, press the button to turn the light off, bang, you move on. Very common system, very effective. Pick to voice is a little bit different, a little bit weird too. Where is it? Where is it here? What's this guy?
The storage system and directly provides the employee with precise instructions via a headset.
So he's been given an order, so it could be Ben's order. He's collecting products for my order, and he's hooked up to a computer, and the computer recognizes through GPS where he is in the distribution center. The computer notices that he's passing a particular product, and will tell him, go get, there we are, get a box of tomatoes. He then talks to the computer and confirms that he's picked up the box.
The instructions tell which goods should be picked where and in which quantity.
Well, that's what I said. There we are. Jars, frankfurters, mayonnaise, and you get to talk to a computer all day. The advantage of this system is its flexibility. So unlike the pick to light system where you've got to have all the racks and the lights and stuff like that, this is just a big warehouse, and you can put pallets anywhere because it's the person that will walk to that particular pallet. Flexibility in store layout. Low demand goods are accessible easily, so because the guy can walk around anywhere. So they're two picking and packing of a customer order options that are available to us in our DC. Another option we can go for is a cross-docking, where we're actually not going to store the goods in the distribution centre. They're going to be transferred from one transport mode to another and not stored there at all. Joanne Mercer uses this system. They're out at Maribyrnong, I think, or they used to be. But I'll just a couple of minutes watch this. 1 minute. Oh. Yeah, listen. So the goods come from China in these trucks. Then they go up the distribution, go up the ramp. A ramp, it could be manual, doesn't have to be automatic. Scanned, so we know that they've arrived from China. Come on, come on, come on. Yeah, we know they're scanned. Still scanning. There we go. Now this guy's putting labels on. This machine is putting labels on based on the scan at the other end, and that label is then, or that information is relayed back to the system, which then sends the box down various ramps, and the ramps might represent different states. So this could be the products going to Queensland, New South Wales, South Australia, Tasmania, etc. So in short, a cross-docking system is simply a place where you unload a vehicle, then repackage perhaps the products and put it onto another vehicle. You don't actually store the goods there, which means you don't need a big warehouse. That's the advantage. Disadvantage is these trucks have to be there at the right time, and that can be a problem if we go back to, where are we? If we've got this sort of traffic occurring, because if the truck can't get there on time, it means you're going to have to start leaving boxes or pallets of boxes sort of lying around, and that's when it starts to become messy. So cross-docking can work if you've got good infrastructure behind it, and as just-in-time system is what's used because you're not storing any of the products. It's moving very quickly into the DC. But Joanne Mercer does a combination. It does store some goods here. Now, if we look at labelling, you saw there on that previous box that we put there was a barcode that was put on there. I think you're all familiar with the barcode. It's just a unique identification code that can tell us about the box, where the box came from, what's in the box, etc. We can go one step further and put in RFID, or radio frequency identification, RFID, with a capital I there. Oops, sorry. And this means that the computer system within a distribution center can track where the box is. And that can be an advantage because after a while we can start to use that data to determine what's moving and what's not moving. We might pick up patterns that certain colours seem to always be at the back of the distribution centre and never used as often, so we can make decisions about ordering less of that colour or bringing them closer to the front of the distribution centre. I won't show you, where are you? No, I won't show you that one yet. I did have one. Sorry, let me just do a quick one. I'll just show 10 seconds. Yeah, American Apparel, this wasn't bad. Goes on a bit. Come on. Where was it? This is in-store RFID. What they use it for is when they're moving garments from upstairs in storage down onto the shop floor, they will pass it through a scanner, which is invisible. Right, here we go. Here we go. He takes a whole bundle and scans them once. And it's radio frequency identification that allows you to scan it. There, confirm the scan by ticking the box. Catch you later. Okay, if you've worked in retail, you're probably familiar with some form of RFID. Just makes it easier to track goods. So labelling is another important aspect to control the flow of goods in a distribution centre, in and out of a distribution centre. In terms of moving garments within a distribution centre, there's a few ways in which we can do it. One is that video I was just going to show you before. Just have a look here. Again, this is a fully automated one, so quite sophisticated, quite expensive to set up, but once it's set up, you'll notice there's no human beings there, except for that one. Well, there she is. But she's the only person that works in there, in the whole place. The system does it all. The system sorts them. There she is again. But and it will also start to, I don't know where it was. Yeah, notice there that no, it's not that one. Come on, where are you? There's another person. Sorry, come on. Yeah, they'll be coming up now. Yep, now that. Yep, see how they're peeling off? That's because they've been allocated to a particular store. So that whole bundle, which is about to go into the truck, is perhaps for the Chadstone store. So it's automatically, it goes through that process. Pretty sophisticated, pretty expensive, but low labour costs. It's good for countries like Australia where labour is expensive. Countries like China or India, where labour is relatively inexpensive, you might go for a more pick-to-light system. They're the kind of trade-offs that you're sort of looking for. Another way we can move goods around is through the Kiva system. This was recently purchased by Amazon. Yeah, good on you. And this is expensive to set up. Again, the garments are in these boxes and the picker stands in one position, scans your order that perhaps you've purchased goods online, and that prompts these little robots to bring the boxes to the picker. So there's the guy there, and these boxes are on their way to be unpicked, if you like. There we go. Picks it up, scans it to confirm that he's picked it up, satisfies the order, the robot goes away, and depending on how much demand there is for the products by this robot, he'll either go right to the back, he or she, I don't know what the robot is, will either go to right to the back of the distribution centre, or they'll kind of hang around this guy if they're in demand. As I said, expensive to set up, but it allows you for a great deal more flexibility, and they never crash because they're smart. So that's the Kiva system. The other systems you've probably seen if you hung out at Safeway. The advantage of this, which might look pretty boring and unsophisticated, is that anyone can pick it up and use it. You can carry 1 ton of goods, and you don't have to be Superwoman to do so. So it's cheap cost you about $2,000 to buy one of them, $1,500. This forklift costs you about $25,000 to buy or lease, and the advantage of that is you can stack things on top of each other. So low cost, higher cost, extremely high cost, but more efficient to do so. And finally, the conveyor was the pick to light, where you've got the boxes being pushed along those rollers. Again, you set up the bench once, you put in the rollers, and then all the boxes flow in one direction. So it doesn't have the flexibility of a forklift, but it has the efficiency of moving goods in one of two directions. So we start looking at the internal movement of boxes and garments in there, or we can go for that automated garment process. Right, that's pretty much it. So what we're going to do next week, this is going to be for the week after, is start choosing costs, working out the cost to rent the distribution centre, cost of loading device, transport, so we get a total final price for our DC. It's not just the rent. As you know, if you rent an apartment, you've also got to take into account all the other costs to get from your apartment to uni or your apartment to work. A part of that. Okay, so we'll go through these next week. We're also going to have to design a distribution centre, so you've got to allocate space in your DC. And guess what? We're going to do another map. So maps are good. Okay. Thanks for that. So in general, let me go back to, sorry, I should have done those. Familiarise yourself with these concepts again, and certainly if you've got any questions, bring them up in the lecture. Not lecture, what do you call it? Shoot. Thanks.